So today I'm going to talk about why Christians are not going to be ready for the great extinction event that is coming. Well, almost an extinction event is what it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that their Christians' belief in heaven and hell evolved over thousands of years, primarily shaped by Zoroastrianism and ancient Greco-Roman philosophical traditions, which were eventually synthesized into early Christianity. You cannot blend falsehoods with the truth, folks. You can't do it. Even Paul said to, what was it? Table of Devils. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah. It's right here. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 21. You cannot drink the temple of Yehovah and the temple of devils. You cannot be partakers of Yehovah's table and the table of devils. And if you do, you think you are greater than him. Indeed, Christians do think that they are greater than their own creator. So, verse 21, do we provoke him to jealousy? Do we think we are stronger than he is? Now, this is why he said flee from idolatry, have nothing to do with it. There cannot be any blending of idolatry and the truth. But what did the Christians do? Well, according to this, the Christians blended Zoroastrianism and ancient Greco-Roman philosophical traditions and synthesized it into early Christianity. So the fact that Paul had to warn the Corinthians not to do this proves that they were in fact doing it. I want you to think about that for a minute. Now, the concept of an afterlife in a heavenly realm is not exclusively Christian and has ancient roots in pre-Christian pagan belief systems. And it goes to ancient Egypt, which Osiris, it is believed that he was resurrected and righteous souls would ascend to a celestial realm. Celestial means heavenly realm. To a field of reeds to live eternally. Norse tradition, Norse paganism, souls didn't go to one singular heaven. Deceased individuals went to different locations depending on how they lived and died. For example, fallen warriors were taken to Odin's heavenly hall, Valhalla. Okay, so we're going to look at Valhalla for a second here. Valhalla, from Old Norse, the majestic gold bright hall of the slain in Norse mythology, ruled by the god Odin. It is a warrior's paradise where fallen combatants are gathered to feast and fight in preparation for the end of the world. The concept spans several prominent subjects and cultural references in Viking beliefs. Valhalla is a majestic hall located in Asgard, the realm of the gods. Same thing. The fallen, half of all warriors who die in battle, are chosen by the Valkyries to dwell here, while the other half go to the goddess Freya's field. daily life. The residents spend their days engaging in epic battles. By evening, all wounds are miraculously healed, and they feast endlessly on the boar and drink mead provided by some goat god, I guess. The purpose. Odin gathers these warriors to train an army to fight alongside the gods during Ragnarok, the prophesied apocalyptic battle. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. And remember what Paul said. You cannot sit at the table of devils, aka paganism, and Yehovah. So, Til Valhalla is a phrase commonly used among U.S. service members, especially the Marine Corps, and veterans as a solemn, honorable farewell to the fallen comrades. It has symbolized brotherhood, remembrance, and promise of reuniting in the afterlife. So, when you say Til Valhalla, you do not believe in anything associated with the Jewish Mashiach. You don't. You can't have the one and the other at the same time. It does not mix. You are by default back into idolatry. Now, remember what I said, how the reason why Christians are not going to be ready when the coming near extinction event occurs. Now, I want you to remember, there was a first near extinction event, the Great Flood, survived by Noah and his family and those who were in the great ship. Now, no, the name is not Peter. It's second Kephas. Once again, the Christians, they decided that they did not like a Hebrew name. They wanted a Roman name instead. So they chose a Roman name, borrowed from the pagan idol, the pagan Roman idol, Deuspiter. Okay? This is what they did. His name is Kephas, not Peter. But the day of Yehovah, where is the day of Jehovah's wrath written about? In Yoel 2, the latter part, and in Yoel 3. Very specifically. Okay? Will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away, or explode, to pass, to come to, is to come to with a great noise. Now it says a great rushing sound here. A roar. Okay? With a crash. Ah, yes. That you can find when in the fifth shofar sound in Revelation 9, beginning in verse 1. And the elements, and that's only the beginning of it in verse 1, by the way, shall melt with fervent heat, and the works that are therein shall be burned up, seeing that these things shall be loosened or dissolved, loosened, broken up, untied, released, destroyed. To loosen is by, it's going to cause great earthquakes and all kinds of things, including the next shofar sound, the sixth shofar sound, which is the releasing of nuclear material upon the earth by the one who wears the ribbon of St. George. Okay. Against, it says against the day of judgment. It means reaching. Hold on. Let me go back to where I was. In which the heaven and earth shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth and the works therein shall be burned up. And yes, it will be. What am I looking for? It's up here that I was looking for. Verse 3. First there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust, and my, oh my, if that's not what we have, then I don't know what we have. And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation, and even the scientists are pretending like the flood of Noah did not exist. They talk about, well, a flood occurred something million years ago. And then they say, whatever, 100,000 years ago. They have no idea what they're talking about because they do not read Scripture. And for this they are willingly ignorant. Yes, they are. Of that by the word of Yehovah the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world was then, being overflowed with water. That world, that society, that civilization perished. It was utterly destroyed. But the heavens and the earth, which are now currently, by that same word from that same mouth, are kept in store, reserved unto fire. At the point of the day of judgment and destruction of unrighteous men. Now, so just as the flood came and destroyed civilization, a near extinction event, so shall the judgment by fire. I have been pointing out to you over and over again, and it was written in Isaiah 66, for by fire and by the sword will Yehovah judge, and many shall be numbered among the dead. And when that happens, we go to I will go to Isaiah. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to go there now. Isaiah 66. No, it's not Isaiah. It's Isaiah. Learn to speak correctly. I'm still learning to speak correctly these words all the time. You can do the same thing. All right. So this is a time when Jerusalem will be re-anointed, when the holy place will be reappointed. This will be a time when all Israel will be brought back home. For behold, or not for behold, it says Yehovah, not the Lord, will come with fire in his chariot, like a whirlwind, to render his anger and his fury and his rebuke with the flames of fire. So this is exactly what Kephas was talking about. For by the fire and by his sword will Yehovah judge flesh, and the slain of Yehovah shall be many. And when he's talking about they sanctify themselves and purify themselves in gardens behind one tree, in the midst eating swine's flesh, and the abomination in their mouth shall be consumed together, says Yehovah. Who is he talking about? He's talking about the Gentiles. This is the day of judgment against the Gentiles. How do I know this? We'll continue reading. For I know their thoughts and their works, and it shall come to pass that I will gather the Gentiles and tongues on judgment day to fight against Israel. And they shall come and see my glory. And how are they going to see his glory? When he strikes them down. And I will set a sign to send. So, see, not to set a sign among them. It says, I will set a sign to send fugitives, escapees. Of whom? Well, you'll see it in a minute. To the Gentiles, to the Goy, to Tarshish, that's first. To Pul and Lud, that is Assyria and Egypt. So what we're talking about in the lands of what is Syria today, Iraq, and parts of Iran, and also into North Africa, and to the lands beyond the Pillars of Heracles. Where are those lands? Those lands are North and South America. And to Tubal, which would be both in Turkey and in Russia, and to Greece, and to the Roman Empire, the coastlands, to hear my fame, to see my glory. Not doesn't say neither, it just says to see my glory. And they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles, among the Goy. Well, then it's clear that these are the two witnesses written about in Revelation 11. And they, the two witnesses, the fugitives, the escapees, shall bring all your brethren for an offering to Yehovah out of all the Gentiles. You see, so while this great near extinction event is occurring, not once it has occurred, no, while it is occurring, all Israel is going to be gathered by the mouth of the two witnesses written about in Revelation 11. And no religion talks about it. None. Nobody. Nobody talks about it. Except me. Show me somebody who talks about this. Show me somebody who tells you this. You won't see anybody telling you this. Upon Sus. Now, I've gone over this before. Remember, folks, a horse as leaping or as a swallow from its rapid flight. Birds. As Isaiah 60 verse 8 and 9 says, flying ships. Well, airline pilots know exactly what that is. Okay? And in buses, chariots, buses, covered wagons, tzab, that's what that means, covered wagons, upon mules, upon swift beasts, to my holy mountain, Jerusalem, says Yehovah, because the children of Israel, that's who they're going to gather, are going to come in as an offering, a tribute. So the Gentiles have to bring in the people of Israel from all their lands as tribute in a clean vessel into the house of Yehovah. And he's going to take, not of them, he's going to take them for priests and for Levites, says Yehovah. So the children of Israel are going to become a kingdom of priests, exactly as it says in the Torah. Everything in the Torah that has not been carried out is going to be carried out. Now, people will say, well, that doesn't square with what was written in 1 Thessalonians 4. Yes, it does. I will show you. Verse 13, but I would not have you be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that you sorrow not, even as others that have no hope. For if we believe that, what? Not Jesus, not Jesus. Remember what I have warned you. You cannot mix paganism with the truth. If his name is not Jesus, then what is it? It is Yehoshua. Jesus is not of Hebrew origin. Therefore, it is not his name. Yehoshua is Hebrew. Jesus comes from, believe it or not, Druid tradition. Extremely pagan Druid tradition was passed on to the Romans. The Romans liked this Jesus because it reminded them of the Greek idol Iesous, which once again has nothing to do with Yehoshua. Remember what Paul said about you cannot mix pagan tradition with the truth. You can't do it. You can't mix pagan tradition, demons with the table of Yehovah. Right here. Wherefore, my dearly beloved, flee from idolatry. I speak to you as wise men. Do you not judge what I say? The cup of blessing which we bless, is it not the communion of the blood of not Christ, not Christos, but Mashiach? The bread which we break, is it not the communion of the body of Mashiach? For we being of one bread and one body, we are all partakers of that bread. Israel after flesh were not they eating of the sacrifices, partaking of the altar? Of course they were. What shall I say then? That the idol is anything, or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols is anything? But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to Yehovah. No, it does not say his name is not God. God, the word God comes from got, which comes from Woden, which is tied to Valhalla. And I would not that you have fellowship with devils. You cannot drink the cup of Yehovah and the cup of devils. You cannot be partaker of Yehovah's table and the table of devils. Why are you provoking Yehovah to jealousy? Well, you're going to find out what happens when you do this. And you will not be ready. Okay? So, now, let's continue. For this we say unto you by the word of Yehovah, that those which are alive and remain in the coming of Yehovah shall not prevent them which are sleeping, or shall not come before. I want you to listen carefully how this is going to. This is not anything like what you've read or what you have heard. Shall not come before. You see that right? Them which are asleep. For Yehovah himself shall descend from the sky with a shout and with a voice from the great messenger, with the trump of Yehovah. Which trump? Well, Paul said at the seventh shofar, not trump, shofar. But Yochanan says something slightly different. And the reason why it's different is because Westerners and Middle Easterners interpret things slightly different. And I'm going to show you what that difference is in just a second. And the dead in Mashiach shall rise first. Well, they're going to rise from the dead. Then which we are alive remain shall catch up together with them in the cloud. That is Isaiah 60, verses 8 and 9. So, the dead in Mashiach that are scattered far into among the Gentiles, where they were buried, and there's not that many, by the way. Most would actually be right there near the land of Israel. Okay. But the ones that are scattered about are going to have to get on those flying ships first. They are honored. They go on those ships first. And the rest will go with them. Now, I know this is not what you've been told. But you're going to have to get rid of all these false narratives that you've been told. If it does not agree with the words of the prophets, because I'm going to show you that the words of the prophets absolutely 100% is the template. They cannot be changed. Okay? To meet with Yehovah not only but Yehoshua in the air. How will you meet in the air? You will get on those airliners and fly to Israel. Fly to Jerusalem by the word of the two witnesses, the two prophets. Yehoshua and Yehovah are going to be in the air over a mountain in Israel. Then they're going to land, the airliners are going to land at airports in Israel. I don't care what your preacher says. I know that after this video, I will probably be one of the only ones who believe this, but I don't care what you believe. I don't care what your preacher believes. I don't care what anybody believes. This is what I believe. It has to agree with the prophet Isaiah. When you go to Isaiah 60, it's right there, whether you like it or not. Who are these that fly as a cloud like doves to the windows? It says the ships of Tarshish. It doesn't say who are these. It says flying as a cloud like doves to their windows. The ships of Tarshish first. To bring your sons from afar and their silver and gold with them. And the first ones that are going to get on the ships are the dead who were raised from the dead. They haven't received their reward yet. They were raised from the dead. Most assuredly given clothing. And they have to go to Israel, go to Jerusalem to receive their reward. I'll show you that in a minute too. Okay, right here. It's right here. And the seventh shofar sounded, and there were great voices in the sky, saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdom of Yehovah, not our Lord, and of his Mashiach, not of his Christ. And he shall reign for, who's going to reign forever? Yehovah. And the 24 elders which sat before Yehovah on their seats fell on their faces and worshiped Yehovah, saying, we thank you, Yehovah Elohim, which are and was and is to come. You have taken upon yourself great power and have reigned. And as a result, the Gentiles right here were angry. And your wrath is come. What is that wrath? By fire and by the sword will he slay many is come. And the time of the dead, that they should be judged, that you should give reward unto your servants, the prophets, and to the Kodesh. The Kodesh is the people of Israel, the Jews, and also them that fear your name, small and great. Fear his name. His name is Yehovah, not God, not Got, not Woden, not Deus, not any of those names. If you use any of those names in place of his name, you don't fear his name. And you might find yourself counted among the slain. Now, when does this occur? Does it occur at the seventh shofar sound? Remember what I told you. There is a Middle East mindset which Yochanan and the messengers had. And the Talmidim had. It says, but in the days of the voice of the seventh messenger, well, that's the seventh shofar sound, right? Okay? I'm talking to you Westerners. Yes, so in the Middle East mentality, yes, it is in the seventh shofar era. But in the Middle Easterners, in the Westerners, it is the tail end of the sixth shofar sound. Let me show you. When he shall begin, about to. What? About to. Almost. Right there. Just before the seventh shofar sounds. That's when these will be raised from the dead and gathered up by, and all the rest of Israel gathered up by the two prophets. My guess, 3.5 years, as is written in Revelation 11, 3.5 years before the seventh shofar sounds. Almost. See, folks, this is the reason why you have to study. You cannot beware of the narrative of your preachers. They are all wrong, every one of them. But in the days of the voice of the seventh messenger, when he is about to sound, the mystery of Yehovah will be fulfilled as he declared to his servants the prophets. That's right, just like the prophet Isaiah, the prophet Yoel. So, and I saw thrones. This is Revelation 20. You Christians, you don't even believe any of this. You don't believe any of this. at all. And I saw thrones, and they that sat on them. And who were sat on them? The thrones. Well, Yehoshua told the 12 Talmidim that he was going to give them 12 thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And I saw the souls of them that were cut off, especially to behead. So it does not necessarily mean beheaded. It means killed, especially beheaded. And I do believe there was one of them that was beheaded for the witness of not Jesus, but Yehoshua. If you don't recognize the name Yehoshua, then you do not fear the name Yehovah, because Yehoshua contains Yehovah's name. And for the word of Yehovah, in which they had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, the image of Jesus, neither had received their mark on their foreheads or in their hands. Forehead. There it is. There's your mark on the beast. Or in their hand. Okay, let's look at, what is it? Cross on right hand. Look at this. What does it come from? Orientation and meaning, cultural and gang affiliation, facing inward, facing outward, Coptic. In the Coptic Orthodox tradition, a cross tattooed on the right wrist is a powerful permanent mark of Christian identity, survival, and pride. So they did not receive not the mark on their forehead of the Catholicism, nor did they receive, and when I say Catholicism, I mean you Protestants too. And also they did not receive the cross on their right hand or wrist from the Orthodox Church. This is, okay, upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Mashiach in Jerusalem, the one in Israel today, for 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first standing up. Blessed and Kodesh is he that has part in the first standing up, for the second death has no power over them, but they shall be the priests of Yehovah and Yehoshua, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Who are going to do that? The ones who are raised from the dead, but also, where is it? The Kodesh. I saw it in here somewhere. And then there is a final judgment after the 1,000 years is over of the rest of the dead. This has nothing to do with your belief in heaven and hell. Your belief in an immortal soul. That somehow that you will have to have an immortal soul. That lie came from Satan in the Garden of Eden, where he said to Eve, you shall not die, but you shall live. He basically told her she had an immortal soul. These lies that you have been told are the reason why you will not be ready for the great coming near extinction event that you have been warned about, but you don't even know about the warning. You don't even know where the warning came from, except for the fact that I showed it to you in 2 Kephas 3. All right.